Hello dear students, welcome to this program. Today we are discussing an interesting topic which is preservation of foods. Before discussing preservation of foods in detail, let's first know its objectives. Number 1, to understand what preservation of food is. Number 2, to know the importance of preservation of food. Number 3, to understand different methods of preservation of food. And number 4 is, what are the guidelines for the use of food additives? Now let's start. Preservation of food. The practices which help in increasing the shelf life of foods or preserve it is known as preservation of food. In other words, to preserve is to keep food safe, retain quality, and prevent decomposition or fermentation. Thus, food preservation can be defined as a process by which food items are prevented from getting spoiled for a short or long period of time. Food preservation is used to extend the life of some food so we can eat it at a time when fresh food is not available. Seasonal food can be enjoyed all year by this process. The color, taste, and nutritive values of food is also preserved. Importance of preservation of food. Now that we have understood the concept of food preservation, can you reason out why we should preserve foods? Well, here are some of the reasons. Number 1, preservation takes care of the excess produce. Can you think of some products which are made with mangoes? Yes, these may be juice, murabba, squash, aam papad, pulp, chutney, pickle, and raw mango powder. You may be able to add a few more to this list. Dear students, mango is a summer fruit and grows in large quantities in India during the months of April to August. Different varieties of mango are grown in different parts of our country. Usually all the quantity of food grown in a region cannot be consumed by the people staying there, as there is usually excessive production. The excess quantity is transported to the regions where either mango is not grown or where that particular variety of mango is not available. If this is not done, the excess produce will rot and go waste. Number 2 is, preservation adds variety to our meals. Have you ever got tired of eating the same vegetables in a particular season? Is it not nice to eat peas when they are either very expensive in the market or are not available? Eating cauliflower in pulao or cauliflower vegetable during the summer months adds variety and interest in meals. In the same way, eating some chutney, papad, or pickle along with the meals adds to the variety in our meals. Preserving food items when they are in season makes this possible. Number 3, preserved food items are sent to places where they are not grown. In some areas of Rajasthan, which are desert areas, and in Himalayan regions that are covered with snow most of the time, very few food items can be grown. Therefore, preserved food items can be sent to such places. Number 4, preservation of foods makes transportation and storage of foods easier. Preservation also reduces bulk of a food item. For example, if you dry green leafy vegetables such as mint, coriander, etc., their weight and volume reduces, thus making their storage and transportation easy. Different methods of preservation of food. Actually, there are many different methods of preservation of foods. Here we are going to discuss the following different methods. Number 1 is aseptic handling, a means of ensuring that food remains sterile and free from bacteria or other harmful microorganisms while packaging. The word septic refers to infection by a pathogenic organism. Aseptic means free from such pathogens. Aseptic packaging is the final step in aseptic food processing, in which food products are continuously sterilized, ensuring that no microorganisms which cause either food decay or food poisoning are present. Aseptic packaging ensures that the containers for the food are also sterilized continuously, and that the food is inserted into the container in a completely sterile environment. Although Louis Pasteur is often the first name that comes to mind when we think about food sterilization, the process dates back to the Napoleonic Wars. The first aseptic filling plant for milk was presented in Switzerland in 1961. The Tetra Pak Company later became one of the leading suppliers of processing and packaging equipment for dairies. Aseptic techniques were common in Europe and Asia before they were introduced in the United States in the 1980s. Aseptic processing is commonly used for the packaging of milks, fruit juices, gravies, and tomatoes. And the aseptic packages are typically a mix of paper, 70%, polyethylene, LDPE 24%, and aluminium 6%, with a tight polythene inside layer. Together, these materials form a tight seal against microbiological organisms, contaminants, and degradation, and eliminating the need for refrigeration. Now, second method is high temperature. Preservation of food by high temperature finds very wide applications compared to other methods of preservation. The use of high temperatures to preserve food is based on their destructive effects on microorganisms. By high temperature, we meant any and all temperatures above ambient. With respect to food preservation, there are two temperature categories in common use, that is, pasteurization and sterilization. Pasteurization by use of heat implies either the destruction of all disease-producing organisms, for example, pasteurization of milk. High temperature heat may be used either for processing or conversion of foods or simply as a means for preserving the food, and the use of heat also affects the food adversely. So it's necessary to use only mild heat treatment that ensures freedom from pathogens, enzyme activity, and enhance the shelf life of the food. The third method which we are going to discuss is dehydration. Dehydration in food processing means by which many types of food can be preserved for indefinite periods by extracting the moisture, thereby inhibiting the growth of microorganisms. Dehydration is one of the oldest methods of food preservation and is used by prehistoric times. If you have a surplus of fruits or vegetables from your garden but lack the canning equipment or freezer space, drying is the right method for the preservation then. So, it is an alternative to canning. Dehydrated foods have a number of advantages, like it is a low-cost way to preserve food. The dried foods requires less storage space than canned goods, and also there is no need of freezer to keep running. It is simple to do and are packed in tightly sealed containers such as moisture-proof freezer containers or Ziploc type bags or dark sanitized glass jars. Preparation for dehydration. Number 1. Select the best fruit and vegetables. Number 2. Prepare foods to be dehydrated as you want them to be served. Number 3. Keep pieces uniform in size and thickness for even drying. Number 4. Some foods should be washed before drying. And number 5 is to prevent browning. Methods of dehydration: sun drying, oven drying, and electric dehydration. The fourth method which we are going to discuss is about osmotic dehydration. Osmotic dehydration is a process that entails the partial removal of water of food items such as vegetables and fruits. Osmotic dehydration works by soaking food in a higher osmotic pressure solution, sometimes referred to as a hypertonic or concentrated solution. The water then passes through the food into the concentrated solution under the osmotic pressure gradient influence. The drying of fruit, the use of sugar to preserve jams and jellies, and the use of salt to preserve certain meats are age-old methods of preserving food. The idea is to reduce the water concentration to a level below that in living organisms. Any bacterial cell that wanders into such a medium will have water osmotically drawn out of it and will die of dehydration. This process is done because fruits and vegetables contain generally 75% water and as a result spoil rapidly. It's a simple procedure that is made for the concentration of vegetables and fruits to prevent spoilage in many different food products. So, by eliminating water from fruits and vegetables using osmotic dehydration, we can preserve our foods for a longer amount of time. Next method is chemicals. Many chemicals will kill microorganisms or stop their growth, but most of these are not permitted in foods. Chemicals that are permitted to add to the food are only used as food preservatives. Chemical food preservatives are those substances which are added in a very small quantities up to 0.2% and which do not alter the organoleptic and physicochemical properties of the foods. Chemical food preservatives are applied to foods as direct additives during processing or developed by themselves during processes such as fermentation. Chemical food preservatives have to be used only at a dosage level which is needed for a normal preservation and not more. The use of chemical preservatives must be strictly limited to those substances which are recognized as being without harmful effects on human beings' health and are accepted by national and international standards and legislation. There are three classes of chemical preservatives commonly used in foods. Number 1, benzoates such as sodium benzoate. Number 2, nitrites such as sodium nitrite. Number 3 is sulfites such as sulfur dioxide. Other acidulants used as preservatives are malic and tartaric acids, citric acid, ascorbic acid or vitamin C. Gaseous chemical food preservatives which are used in food preservation are number 1, sulfur dioxide, number 2, carbon dioxide and chlorine. The next method which we are going to discuss about is radiants. Many advanced methods of preserving foods have been developed and the food research workers constantly seek new and improved preservation methods. In recent years, the use of radiation has shown great promise. In radiation preservation, gamma rays or electron beams destroy the spoilage microorganisms like bacteria and parasites that cause human illnesses. It can also make food last longer by destroying or inactivating insects, molds, yeasts, etc. that spoil the food. Through radiation, the genetic material of the contaminating organism is damaged so that they can no longer survive or multiply. Radiation technique makes the food safer to eat by destroying bacteria, which is very much similar to the process of pasteurization. The Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC, Mumbai, has done extensive research in development work on preservation of food by radiation. The Board of Radiation and Isotope Technology, BRIT, of the Department of Atomic Energy will soon be commissioning a facility for radiation processing of spices at Navi Mumbai. BARC is also setting up the first demonstration plant for radiation processing of onions and potatoes in Nasik, Maharashtra. Radiation processing to preserve food has its limitations too, since not all types of food can be treated with ionizing radiation. Many dairy products treated with ionizing radiation develop objectionable changes in flavor, odor, and color. Eggs are also not amenable to radiation processing. Now, the guidelines for use of food additives. Any substance that is reasonably expected to become a component of food is a food additive that is subject to pre-market approval by FDA, unless the substance is generally recognized as safe, GRAS, among experts qualified by scientific training and experience to evaluate its safety under the conditions of its intended use, or meets one of the other exclusions from the food additive definition in Section 201S of the Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act, FFDCA. Any food additive that is intended to have a technical effect in the food is deemed unsafe unless it either conforms to the terms of a regulation prescribing its use or to an exemption for investigational use. Otherwise, in accordance with Section 409 of the Act, the substance is deemed as an unsafe food additive. Any food that contains an unsafe food additive is adulterated under Section 402A(2)(c) of the FFDCA. Similarly, any substance that is added to food and imparts color to the food is a color additive. Any color additive in food is deemed unsafe unless its use is either permitted by regulation or exempt by regulation. It is the responsibility of the manufacturer of any food to ensure that all ingredients used are of food-grade purity and comply with specifications and limitations in all applicable authorizations. To determine compliance, consider each authorization to be composed of three parts. Number one, the identity of the substance. Number second, specifications including purity and physical properties. And the last, limitations on the conditions of use. Dear students, it's all about this topic. Thanks.